What's up, Prop Mob? I'm Eduardo Talbert. This is Mostly Tutorials. Today I have a really cool project. In today's video we're animating a coffin. So it opens and closes by itself with a motion sensor trigger, right? So one of the things I wanted to mention is that the coffin we already made in a previous video, which is linked below. The motion sensor I used in a video as well. I showed how to make it in a video back like 3 years or so. I've linked that below as well. It's in the middle of the video, so you're gonna have to forward until you find that part. But other than that, we're going to work on the mechanism that lifts, opens and closes the coffin. Then we're going to plug that to the motion sensor so that when somebody walks by, it opens and closes. So let's get started. This build is not that complicated, but it requires some engineering. So the first thing which I'll show you is I took 2 pieces of scrap wood like this and mounted one on top of the other. Put a screw through the bottom and some wood glue, right? And then I took a spade bit and made a hole right on this part. Then took the motor. We're going to use one of these motors. They're very slow, like 6 RPM, so they move very slow, like you saw the movement on the coffin, and inserted it in the hole that the spade bit did, and then secured it with screws on the side. The way that I mounted, the reason I mounted it like that is because this distance right here is what I wanted the coffin to open. So remember, if you want it to open 6 inches, you need to have 3 inches on the bottom and 3 on the top, because when the thing turns, it's going to have a diameter of 6 inches. So whatever the lift you want to make, divide it in 2, because that's your radius, okay? Now for the arm, what I did is I took one of these hangers. It's just a hanger for pictures. And I hammered it onto that shape. Right, I'll show you some close-ups. And make sure that there's 2 holes lined up. And then on the other end, on this end, I drilled a hole, right? So let me take this off here. On the other end, I drilled a hole, okay? So now this mounts on the motor. So it mounts on the motor, and then we take a screw and put it in the shaft of the motor, right? Then this side is the one that is going to lift the coffin lid up and down, okay? For that, I took a bamboo skewer, right? It's just a regular skewer that you make shish kebabs or something. And I took some of these electrical connectors, right? And I took the connector and I slightly opened it and then slid it over the bamboo skewer to look like this, right? So put one at each end, right? One there and one there, at the length that we specified to lift the coffin, right? So it'll be mounted just like that on the piece of wood. That part is mounted on the shaft, and now when this turns, it lifts this, and this attaches to the lid of the coffin. For the lid of the coffin, I made my own clevis right here, right? And that's one of these things to hang curtains that has been bent, right? So I bent it like that. Then the other end goes into this clevis. So we attach this to the lid of the coffin with glue, right? Then this goes in there, and you can slide a piece of wood or a screw through there, just like that. So then when this turns, right, and pushes this, so when the motor turns, right, it lifts the lid, but it has enough wiggle so that this can turn without doing anything to the lid. So that goes on the lid, this goes on the bottom. I just glued that clevis in there so that glue is setting, and I'll show you how I put it all together. But on the inside, I want some lights that come on. So I'm using one of these, right, this guy. And keeping in mind that the coffin is made out of foam, I'm going to mount the light to a piece of wood. This wood will lay flat on the coffin, and I'm going to have the light on one side. I'm going to put the fog machine on the other. So all we have to do is disassemble these 2 side pieces, mount the base to the wood, and we're good to go. that looks great. The last thing to consider is the power requirement of the motor. So those are anywhere from like 3 to 12 volts, you know. So I'm using a 9 volt, 200 milliamp, power adapter. So I'm going to hardwire that to the positive and negative leads of the motor. So the one with the white line is the negative, the one with no lines is the positive. So I'm just going to connect those, put some electrical tape, and then we can plug this on a power source, which I'm using a motion sensor power source. So let's go over there and let me show you the whole setup. Here's the setup before we close the coffin. The motor has been attached to the 9 volt power adapter, right? I also added the fog machine and the light on the piece of wood. This extension cord comes out this way, right? And it comes down to a motion sensor, right? This motion sensor is set to demo, which means that it will only activate or turn on the power to the extension cord, right, for about 7 seconds, and then it resets. That demo mode is what they use in stores so that when the customers walk by, it turns the light on, but then it doesn't stay on. It turns off for the next customer. We're doing the same here with our trick-or-treaters. This will activate for 7 seconds, and then it'll reset for the next trick-or-treater. So this sends power over into the coffin again, and comes out here, and we are going to plug the motor that makes the lid go up and down, and we are plugging the light. Okay, the fog machine will be set up on a timer, and right now it's set up to every 2 minutes to fog for about 4 seconds. That'll keep the whole coffin full of fog. All right, let's button this up and see how it works. The way to set up the coffin is I'm going to put the extension right there, and then we're going to close the lid, and we are going to attach that extension to the clevis and put the little piece of wood right through. Right here where my finger is the motion sensor. So I'm going to turn the lights off, I'm going to turn the flames on, and let's test this thing. That works awesome. Pretty cool, huh? That works absolutely awesome. I'm gonna put that coffin inside of that's the fog machine. I'm going to put that coffin in my funeral hearse. So that's going to be in the display outside, so when the trick-or-treaters walk by, they trigger the motion sensor and the coffin will lift up. So I'm not sure if I'll keep the purple lights. I think they're really cool, but it could be a strobe light, or it could be like a string of LEDs. You know, it's whatever you want. So I think that's pretty cool. If you like that project, the animated coffin for Halloween, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, think about it if you found it interesting, and let me know what you think. What would you use this animation for? All right, I'm Eduardo Talbert. this Monster Tutorials. We are the Prop Mob, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.